Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are taking an absolute deep dive into a really powerful concept from Steve Green's book, Financial Health in the 30 Steps, From Debt Chaos to a Balanced Budget. Now, if you're someone who is constantly juggling a million daily responsibilities, managing a career, keeping up with the family, just trying to keep the household running, well, this explainer was built exactly for you. We're going to explore this fascinating idea Green calls your Bill Autopilot. And the goal here? It's not just to manage your money a bit better, it's to aggressively save your precious time and honestly your mental energy. Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the jump scare bill effect, mapping your due dates, the bill to your system, creating your safety buffer, balancing minimum automation with full control, and finally closing those open mental tabs. All right, part one, the jump scare bill effect. If you've ever missed a payment, please know right now that it is not a moral failure. It's literally just cognitive overload. You think to yourself, hey, I'm finally doing okay, and then bam, suddenly a charge hits your account like a financial jump scare. Honestly, it's worse than a horror movie. It almost feels like the bills are actively tracking your bank balance, just waiting for the absolute worst possible moment to strike. When bills are unpredictable like this, your brain goes straight into a threat response. And when cash is low, well, that threat response is magnified big time, leaving you totally scrambling instead of thinking clearly. And that brings us to the core psychology behind this whole problem, decision fatigue. Basically, your working memory is limited. Every single day, you are out there making hundreds of little decisions. So by the time you finally sit down in the evening to figure out your finances, your brain's decision-making pool is completely empty. Expecting yourself to perfectly remember 10 different totally scattered due dates while managing work and family stress, that is just setting yourself up for failure. It's a proven fact. When stress goes up, our memory reliability goes right down. So there is a massive difference between operating with a reactive brain versus a strategic brain. That reactive cycle, it's actually costing you real money in late fees and overdrafts. But the strategic side, the Bill Autopilot, relies completely on default design. See, when your default system is set up correctly, you don't even need willpower to succeed. Your finances just run smoothly, even on those days when you are utterly and completely exhausted. Moving on to section 2, mapping your due dates. Okay, so here is your exact step-by-step instruction guide for creating a map of your payment dates. This is how we get perfect transparency over your spending. First, open your accounts and pull your last 60 days of transactions. Next, write down every single recurring bill. And yes, even that tiny streaming subscription you totally forgot you were paying for. Finally, grab a pen and draw a simple visual calendar and literally plot every single bill on its specific due date. Steve Green points out that simply seeing everything laid out visually like this immediately dials down the anxiety. Now, once you build that calendar, you might notice something Green calls calendar Tetris. You might look at it and realize, wow, my rent, my student loan, and my internet are all due within 3 days of each other, right when your cash is at its absolute tightest. So here's the crucial takeaway. Timing stress isn't bad budgeting. It's really just logistics. You are completely allowed to call up these companies and ask them to change your billing cycle. Just aligning those due dates closer to your actual payday fixes this friction almost instantly.
Section 3, the bill tier system.
Now that we actually have a map, we need a solid strategy. A really common misconception is that you have to automate absolutely everything, but you really don't. We just need to split your bills into 3 levels of importance. Tier 1 are your must-never-be-late bills, things that cause serious damage if you miss them, like rent, minimum debt payments, and utilities. Tier 2 is important but slightly flexible, like your cell phone bill. And Tier 3 is strictly optional, like entertainment stuff. Your only task here, to save yourself time and energy, is to set up automatic transfers exclusively for Tier 1 first. Basically, we are automatically preventing the most expensive mistakes from ever happening. Which brings us to Section 4, creating your safety buffer. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what if automation triggers an overdraft? It is a totally valid fear. So, here's your checklist for creating a secure, completely safe buffer for those automatic transfers. Step 1, choose a minimum checking account balance floor. Step 2, you have to treat this buffer amount as absolutely untouchable during the month. And Step 3, if your balance ever drops down and gets anywhere near that number, you instantly hit pause on all non-essential spending. Just to give you an example, the book suggests using a round number like $200. If your floor is $200 and you hit it, boom, all non-essential spending stops right there until payday. Try to frame this in your mind not as some harsh restriction, but as a brilliant safety design. This buffer is exactly what allows your automation to run smoothly in the background without triggering any overdraft chaos. Section 5, minimum automation versus full control. Okay, next up, we really need to address a crucial distinction. Setting up an automated system does not mean you're surrendering your entire financial life to robots. You stay completely empowered. You're just setting up autopay for the absolute minimums on those tier 1 bills we talked about. That's what prevents the avoidable mistakes, the late fees, and the dings to your credit. But you keep manual control over directing any extra money strategically toward your real goals, like debt progress. I absolutely love how one of the participants in the source material beautifully described this layered protection system. They called it seatbelts and airbags. Think about it. You set up those automatic minimums as your baseline safety equipment. You really hope you don't actively need the backup to save you from a crash, but man, you are incredibly grateful it's there, running quietly in the background just in case. All right, our final section, Section 6, Closing Open Mental Tabs. So, there is a fascinating cognitive effect at play here called the Zeigarnik effect. Psychologists actually found that unfinished tasks occupy your mental space way more persistently than tasks you've already completed. I mean, think of every unautomated, upcoming due date as an open tab in your brain's web browser. If you have a dozen open tabs constantly draining your mental battery all day, of course you're going to feel exhausted. By automating these payments, you are structurally closing unfinished business. You are literally freeing up massive amounts of daily mental load. The absolute ultimate takeaway here is that reliability beats memory every single time. Look, you are a human being with a heavy daily workload. You're going to get tired, you're going to get distracted. We just have to accept that we aren't robots and instead intentionally build a robot to help us out. That massive shift from financial chaos to calm stability, it happens the moment your system assumes you will be perfectly human and steps up to protect you anyway. Steve Green ends with such a powerful reflection question in the book, and I want to leave you with it today. What would change in your life if you never paid a bill late again? Just imagine the mental energy you would reclaim. Think about the stress you'd finally shed and the confidence you'd build up. This Bill Autopilot is honestly just one of the 30 steps in Green's whole framework. So what else could you automate to permanently free your brain from playing damage control?